What does Elliot Cutler have to do with George W. Bush? The more you know, the more you realize there is literally a global conspiracy. 100%. There's a globalist cabal. You ain't in it. I ain't in it. They want us fighting on red versus blue, but this is. So, who's Elliot Cutler? Well, Elliot Cutler is a very wealthy, prominent attorney in Maine who ran for governor and almost won in 2010. But basically, because of his third-party run, he was able to allow Paul LePage, who I like, to win the governorship narrowly. And then he ran again in 2014, and again Paul LePage won. But Elliot Cutler, as is usually what happens with third parties, they flash out. Anyway, so he got arrested on all kinds of child porn charges. I'm not sure what the whole, why they investigated this guy. I don't know where this came from. Frankly, don't really care that much. But, it's a prominent Maine politician who came across, because I happened to see him on News Center Maine, the YouTube channel. I said, whoa, I remember Elliot Cutler. But anyway, so this is freaking, I tell you, man. I get it. Everyone says there's no conspiracy, so we'll read about Elliot Cutler, shall we? So he was just arrested, and it's a sad thing. And I mean, look, the Fed's going to indict a ham sandwich. I just whatever. I mean, I don't know what else to say. All right, so he's an American lawyer. Let's take a look. He had previously served in the Carter administration as part of the U.S. Office of Management Budget. He was born in Bangor, Maine. His dad was a prominent physician, and his mom was an economist. So he's born to rich people for sure. He went to secondary education at Deerfield Academy. So he's a rich guy, man. A rich guy, very prominent, rich. He went to Harvard, and then he went to Georgetown Law. Oh, then he worked for Senator Ed McCuskey of Maine, helping to craft the Clean Water Act and Clean Air Act. Now, when I was a kid growing up, we actually had a piano in our house in Maine. And it had a big sticker of Muskie for president, I think. I think Muskie ran for president in 76 or something like that. But a big bumper sticker on the piano we had. Muskie for president. All right. Anyway, so he began his legislative assistance at Muskie. Again, a rich guy. I'm just curious, what's Deerfield Academy? Trust me. You watch the video to find. Yeah, look at that. It's an elite co-educational school in Deerfield, Massachusetts. One of the oldest schools in the United States. I guarantee they got a... I guarantee they got a lot of prominent people from Deerfield. That this is where the beginning of the cabal comes. All right, let's keep reading about old Cutler, because this is. So I'm just reading about this guy. Then he worked from 1980 to 1988, focusing on a law firm focusing on mostly environmental land issues. Then he was a founding partner of Cutler and Stanfield with he became the second largest environmental firm in the country. I guarantee they gave a lot of money to what's that guy's name, Tim Worth in Colorado, and the guy from freaking the climate change guy, Hansen. I guarantee these guys are getting paid because they want to create the environmental issues so they can get paid. It's the whole thing is insane. I mean, it's literally, once you see it, you just have to laugh. It's out of your control. There's no reason to get frustrated on it. You just laugh. All right. In 1990, he purchased a property on Shore Road in Cape Elizabeth, Maine. In an interview with Port Magazine, he recounted the purchase. It took 2 years to find the property, and once we saw and bought it, we want to build a house that sat well on land and was not overly imposing. This whole thing is just weird why they did all this. He resided in Cape Elizabeth with his wife during his gubernatorial campaigns. They have 2 adult children. In 2006, he moved to Beijing. Where he acquired a collection of Chinese vernacular furniture and antiques. When he moved back to Cape Elizabeth, Maine, he integrated the Far East influence with the Maine mystique of the residents. In 2017, he put his 15,500 square foot home, oceanfront home in Cape Elizabeth for sale for $11 million, citing his intention to move to a condo in nearby Portland. Guess who bought the house? A guy named Jonathan S. Bush. Interesting. So anyway, he served on the board of electors of Americans Elect. Let's see. He endorsed Andis King, who's supposedly independent senator from Maine, but he's actually not an independent. He's a lefty. Since the 2014 election, Maine became the first state in the country to introduce ranked choice voting with multi-race, whatever. Cutler announced he would not run for governor again, stating that he was taking a vow of abstinence from doing so. Apparently, well, I'm not saying anything. He also announced his appointment by the University of Maine system to lead the creation of a new graduate school unifying existing He announced he'd work with the political organization Maine Independence to recruit candidates for 2018 elections. Look, I got no qualm with that, man. I mean, I think we need a third party, 100%, but I don't think we're ever going to get it in the United States. All right, so who is Jonathan S. Bush, who bought his house? Let's take a look here. If I can find it. Right? Jonathan S. Bush. So who's this guy? He's an American technology entrepreneur, best known as co-founder of the chief executive office, CEO of Athena, a Watertown, Massachusetts-based healthcare technology company founded in 1997. Well, I used to live in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. I worked in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, like 6 months. I had a number of clients who worked for Athena, actually. And we worked for Athena. He was the CEO of Athena, but he resigned during an activist campaign by Elliot Management. I don't know who Elliot Management is. One of the largest activist funds in the world. I'm going to click on this. Paul Singer. Paul Singer. Now that's a big, philanthropist. Paul's just, oh man, we've got to start tackling these people. I'm telling you. Paul Singer's a righty too, I think, if memory serves. I think he's given a lot of money to right-wing causes. Anyway, there's Elliot Management. Singer started Elliot Associates in 1977 with $1.3 million from friends and family. 1977, man. He got $1 million. So where did he get his? I don't want to go down here, but who's Jonathan S. Bush? He's the son of Jonathan Bush, who's a cousin of George W. Bush, the nephew of George H.W. Bush. All right. He graduated from Phillips Academy College Prep. This is where the globalist cabal meets right here. He attended BU, graduated from Wellesley, then went to Harvard and got an MBA in Harvard. Interesting. So obviously he's a pretty. He grew up in Manhattan and attended the Allen Stevenson School. Private boys' school from kindergarten to 8th grade. The whole thing, this is just where they get their cabal. I guarantee old Jonathan S. Bush isn't the sharpest knife. And that doesn't mean he's a bad guy. He's probably a good guy. Guarantee he's not the sharpest knife. All right. He took time off from his studies to work on George H.W. Bush's campaign. He was an EMT. He spent a summer vacation during college operating a 911 response in New Orleans. All right. The business, let's see. The business side of Bush's training stemmed from his time as associate J. Bush and Company, a firm founded by his father that assisted foreign embassies in banking. But there's no globalist cabal. A colleague from Booz Allen founded Athena Women's Health, a women's health and birthing clinic housed in San Diego. He was a CEO until resignation in 2018. Now he's the CEO and founder of Zus Health, whatever the hell that is. He was named CEO of the Year by Massachusetts Technology Leadership Council. Interesting. Visionary leadership from Tufts. He included Fortune and said he was a disruptor in a list of 34 leaders who are changing healthcare. At least he's got 6 kids, so he's crushing in that regard. But in 2018, a report detailed his verbal and physical abuse towards his first wife. Claims are later dropped. Yeah. All right. Anyway, point being, let's keep going. So here's this guy right here, Jonathan S. Bush. So what are these guys up to? Because he is doing right there. I want to show you something here. Hold on a second. Working at J. Bush and Company, which is a firm founded by his father that assisted foreign embassies and banking. So what was Elliot Cutler actually doing in China? Because Elliot Cutler was in China from 2006, Beijing, and he moved back, 5 years later or something like that. So what was Cutler doing? What is Xi Jinping basically? What do you think is what Cutler is trying to do with China? The same thing the Americans were trying to do in Russia in the 90s, and the same thing the Americans were doing in the Ukraine in the 2010s, trying to rape the community. 100%, man. Extract the wealth. Cutler guarantees trying to do the same thing. So Xi Jinping gets in office. He goes, nope, we're putting the kibosh on all this crap. And you might not like Xi Jinping. I don't. But at the end of the day, you can kind of see. It's like, no, we're not going the way of Russia. We're going to get these foreigners out of here, and they're not going to steal our freaking valuable assets that we have in China. Go. And everyone now hates China. Isn't that funny? And right, I mean, look, China's not a good place. The Chinese people are freaking wonderful. Chinese government economies are horrible. But now we can focus how bad China is as opposed to, why was Elliot Cutler in China? I'm just curious. What was Elliot Cutler in China? Let's look. What was he doing in China? He says, I did live in China for 3 years. I pursued economic relationships between Maine and China because China is going to be the biggest market in the world, not only for what we produce, but for Americans produce. This can be a huge market. So we need to get out there and, just like the NBA, 5 of us, right after the 2010 election, started a business to export lobster to China, but we were focused on China. The last couple of years, the market for lobster in China has exploded. Yeah. Huh. You know why? Because they had all that money from their so this is what Xi Jinping says. We got all these people at the top who are getting rich while everybody else is staying poor. And that's where they're saying, hey, we got all this money at the top, the Chinese. We want that Maine lobster. And Xi Jinping put a stop to that. He said, no, I mean, there's still, like, the commies are still living well, don't get me wrong. But he said, no, we're not going to have this freaking oligarch system that they had in Russia. And the market for lobster in China exploded because you had a certain group of wealthy elite in China through the Communist Party who were taking advantage. I can tell you 99% of the people who live in China don't know what Maine is. And yet you had this elite group up there who wanted Maine lobsters that Elliot Cutler was trying to massage. I want you to feel sorry for the folks in Asia, particularly in China, because for years they've been living on a diet of Australian and New Zealand's lobster. Okay. First of all, the way we built the market in China for lobster was not just to go there and tell the Chinese about it. We brought them here. These are the top officials of the largest food distribution company in China. We've had huge spreads with photographers and interviews with the biggest boating magazines in China. So basically, he's appealing to, the whole thing is so corrupt. Anyway, so let me say redemption. Was redeeming himself? You need a. Would you hire Dennis? I'm not sure what he's talking about there. Okay. So isn't that weird though? We got Jonathan S. Bush, who bought the house of Elliot Cutler. Elliot Cutler had relations to China. Elliot Cutler is a big corporate gig attorney, going back to the Carter administration. Ed Muskie, he comes from privileged background. Jonathan Bush, the same thing. You literally think these people care 2 aughts about America or about you? These are the globalists right here, man. I tell you. And if we want America first, these are the people we're going to have to contend with. At some point, you're going to have to say, you can't just keep going all over the world globetrotting and raping the world of its resources and sending U.S. manufacturing outsourced. You got to say no. We've got to be nationalistic, man. We got to be. That's what's happening in China. That's what's happening in Russia. Hell, Ukraine. They're giving up their sovereignty. I don't think the Ukrainian people know that, but certainly the Ukrainian government does. They're like giving up our sovereignty to the EU. Just look at what's going on in Greece. Look at what's going on in Europe, all over the place. The EU has taken over sovereignty of these countries. At some point, you got to say, no, we're gonna have to take back sovereignty, and that means getting rid of the globalist cabal. There's no other way around that. All right, love your thoughts. We'll see you.